What's up, peers, and welcome to the World Crypto Network, here for a very exciting, introduction to something very new that we hope you are going to find as exciting as we are. We are introducing to you the HODL Hotline, hourly consulting with Bitcoin experts. Exactly, that's what we are. So how does this work, right? Bitcoin is difficult. We all know that, and the rabbit hole goes deep and across many different eclectic array of sources. So we thought it would be nice to have a way to reach out to people that know their stuff about Bitcoin and that they have some reputation here on the market, and that we then want to give you the opportunity to ask in-depth questions and get tailor-made answers for you in a long-form conversation that is private and in addition to the free resources that we already produce. So here the HODL Hotline is, I think, something really cool. And we have many different people here on the line joining to collaborate on this. We have, for example, Kato Miner. We have Juan Gold. We have me as well. We have Nico Lamin, Omnifin. We have Crypto Rafe, and we have Justin Moon. So a outstanding group of people that collaborate here on bringing you a little bit of everything in the terms of Bitcoin space. So maybe we can start just by introducing each and everyone really quickly. Justin, why are you in this? Why do you think it's important to have the HODL Hotline?
Mostly because I found Bitcoin really confusing when I first bought some. It took me a long time to get coins off exchanges. It took me a long time to figure out how hardware wallets work, so that I was comfortable with it. And some of the things that helped me were meeting some local people here in Austin who I could talk to about it. And it was really, the human interaction that helped, that answered the questions for me. And in order to do that, I basically had to start a meetup, which was a lot of work. So I don't know, hopefully this sort of thing, you could reach out to an expert and be like, hey, I don't really understand XYZ. Could you help explain it to me? And I think a lot of people might find this useful.
Yeah, very much so, I agree. And of course, you've also taught a couple of fellows already with the Build Bootcamp, and you've gathered some experience, right? Same for you, Nico. You've already taught at many different occasions. So then again, why do you support your peers, and why do you help them at meetups or at conferences or now at the HODL Hotline?
Thanks, Max. It's nice to be on the show again. Yeah, I must say, I have similar experience as Justin. I went through the rabbit hole, and it was a lot of work to actually learn all these things. And my reason why I started actually teaching people and talking to people on Telegram and starting my own groups and starting my own channel are purely selfish, because it is a well-known fact that by teaching others, you can learn way better and you can internalize the information way better. So I do this for myself first and foremost, but also what we can offer here, like you said, Justin, that our content is mostly free and available, but we can offer you the shortcut to guide you to some of the best resources, best practices that we've found useful. And of course, this doesn't make us any kind of super experts, and then again, just our experience and our knowledge. But yeah, like Max said, we do have some background on this. So at least we work with our own names, own faces. You can find us online. We are pretty approachable on Telegram, Twitter. You can just reach us easily. So while I'm not saying that, definitely come and talk to us and trust us, still you need to do your own research, but you can shave off quite a bit of that time that went into actually for us to learn all these things and to possibly steer you away from, I almost went for BitConnect one day. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I was watching those videos at some point of my life before I actually realized what's going on. So there are many risks, and if you're not aware of these things, you might do some undue trial and error. And of course, you still need to take your personal responsibility for your choices, but we are there to help. And at the same time, we are there to learn, because let's face it, there's no real experts on Bitcoin, maybe Satoshi, but that's it.
Oh yeah, right. Absolutely. It's always crazy to see the experts that we find here in the rabbit hole, but they're really well knowledgeable about one specific field, and they really know what's up in this one area. But then maybe that is, I don't know, the nuances of a Bitcoin Core peer review in the GitHub. I don't know, something, right? And they really know what's up here. Maybe like Vladimir van der Laan, right? Who does who signs off every commit, right? He knows exactly how this stuff works, but he might have no clue about the nuances of the energy consumption of miners, right? Given the different climates outside. Right, it's really difficult to grok all these areas of Bitcoin holistically, right? And there are different approaches here, right? Of either specializing on one thing and becoming a real specialist and expert, or to be more of a generalist, right? And to cover more of the approaches and get the high level view to, well, grok Bitcoin in a sense. Raphael, what was your way of, when falling down the rabbit hole, of walking this path of focusing on some things, or getting a more general overview?
Yeah, I mean, I've been researching this stuff for since 2013, and I have to say that there's still every day more and more stuff that I find out and that I have no idea what they are. You know, there's so many different areas and different technology things, and this Austrian economic side, and well, there's a lot to learn, and that's one of the reasons that I wanted to come into this hodl hotline thing, because I really myself, I like to watch videos, but they are also, sometimes some of the information could be much more condensed and designed just only for you and your questions. And that's, in my opinion, one of the efficient ways of getting this information. And yeah, I mean, I do like to provide that info. I do have a general understanding of many different parts of this stuff. But yeah, no one who actually calls themselves expert of whole Bitcoin or something like that. I mean, that just sounds pretty suspicious.
Yeah, I would agree, right? And it's good to know where your area of expertise is in, right? And to stand strongly in what you know and truly understand to be true. But then, of course, it's also important to keep an open mind and to reach out into the unknown and to see where the rabbit hole leads you, because it's quite a crazy place to be in, and you never stop learning here. It's a lifelong journey. So, right, it's important to keep up this learning process throughout your entire life, and that is accumulating information, right? A external process of getting different inputs from different persons, right? For example, one of the peers here on this call today, who then can share their specifically tailor packaged information with you, but that's external, right? To really understand that is a internal process, and you have to sit down and really contemplate and discover whether a information is true or false, right? And no one really can help you understand or make you understand. We can only package the information in a way that it might be more accessible and approachable to then fully understand. But what's ultimately important is to act what you know to be the truth, and to be active in this world and actually apply the knowledge and the understanding that you have accumulated, right? So it's this entire process of information accumulation, then the understanding and the application of that. And I think the hodl hotline is a good mix of all three of them, right? So Justin, what is your preferred way of sharing knowledge with others, or with teaching in general?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. I mean, with my class, I try to make I try to put people into sort of like scenarios where they can discover. For me personally, when I read a book where it's like, this is how XYZ works, and it just explains everything, I just get bored and fall asleep. So I like to create like little scenarios where people can sort of discover it themselves, and they have to sort of, wade through a little simulation of something and, go through some exercises. And I think that's a more exciting way to learn than just reading out of a wiki, or like just reading a kind of a boring description sometimes. And so, yeah, I mean, part of the way I see this little hodl hotline thing is if let's say you have like 3 appointments, you make a first one and you kind of discuss some stuff, and maybe the person you're talking with, one of us can sort of give you some assignments. Say like, hey, try to do this with the ColdCard. Try to create, I don't know if ColdCard supports testnet, but try to create a multi-sig on testnet, with on an SD card, for example. And I'll give me one of the keys. I'll send you like a key, and then we'll sort of like at the next call we'll verify that it worked and like send coins back and forth and like practice multi-sig together. You can kind of do exercises like this. So I think that would be kind of like a cool thing with this. If you do a couple appointments in a row, you'd kind of give some homework, some stuff to play with, and the next time you could check whether they understood it and kind of ask questions and that sort of thing.
But very nice, right? And to again, this is not just, or it can be a one-time thing, but if you want, you can have recurring meetings here and recurring calls to actually continue the conversation and to get feedback from and to challenge the beliefs that you've come to accumulate, right? So if, for example, Justin gives you the homework, right, that you then have to do a testnet multisig, when you actually apply this, then you will understand the subject much more thoroughly, and then you will get new questions that you can then answer in the next call. So I think a recurring basis is quite nice to have. And Nico, but same question to you. How do you like to teach others?
I really like Justin's approach. I too get bored on lectures. When I was in the university, it was like I almost never went to class.
Nico, you're now muted. Maybe check your microphone.
Can you hear me?
Okay, well then in the meantime, until Nico figures it out, Raphael, same question to you. How do you like to teach?
I do like to be live and talk about this stuff. I mean, I do not like that much of reading long articles about, at least not about the technical stuff. I mean, those could be kind of boring, and usually it could be really useful to get some clarification or be able to like ask a clarifying question about these different parts of subjects. So in my opinion, just discussing about this stuff is one of the quickest and the best way to get a touch of the whole subject. But for deep understanding, you have to go through those articles, of course. But yeah, there's these different trade-offs. But I do like to discuss face-to-face with people. I do have this cryptocurrency course where I teach newbies about basically just Bitcoin stuff. But yeah, I mean, that has been a pretty nice experience, and hopefully we can do this with the hodl hotline too.
Am I back?
Okay, very nice. Nico, are you back? Can you speak?
Am I back? Can you hear me?
No, it seems not.
I can hear you, but really, really like.
All right, you guys go.
Well, it really is difficult to to have this real teaching experience in cyberspace only, right? Because you're easily lost in just accumulating knowledge, right? If you just listen to hours and hours upon podcasts and watch YouTube videos nonstop, right, and read books all the time, then you might fall into the cycle of just accumulating knowledge and not really doing anything with it. And so maybe again to what Justin said earlier, that to really have this need to apply it and to get pushed to try it out, I think is really nice to have.
Well, the best way to learn about Bitcoin is not to read like 3 books about it, but to solve the problems that you have, right? Like, how do I get my damn coins off an exchange? How do I verify my seeds? Like, how do I make sure my backups are good? Like this sort of thing. I think you learn a ton more about Bitcoin because you're just so much more motivated. You have like skin in the game, and it's just more useful. It's not like academic learning in the abstract. You're really, protecting the fruits of your labor. So I think this sort of thing is spend more time solving your problems, spend less time reading Mastering Bitcoin. I think is a good solution for a lot of people.
Yeah, I do agree. But I've been saying many times this thing that the best investment that you can do in this scene is just to get some knowledge about this whole stuff, and that's the first thing that people should do when they come in my opinion. Not just go in into those exchanges and go buying and doing all that stupid stuff.
Yeah, that's true. It's a balance.
Yeah, just being in peace and getting to know all this stuff, or as much as possible, until you feel.
Am I back?
Yeah, sounds lucky back.
Can you hear me?
I still can't hear you, Nico.
Yeah, I can hear you, Nico.
Okay, there's something weird going on here.
What's going on? Google
Yeah,
Hangout.
I can hear Nico.
Yeah. All right, I'm
beautiful
gonna. Yeah, I'm just gonna hang out and I'm back.
Oh, Nico, now. Say something again.
I think he's checked
and
off.
Yeah. Okay. I think I found the issue. Okay. But yeah. So then maybe as a next step to focus on what you would like to teach in these hodl hotline calls. So Justin, where would you like to focus on?
Well, so the thing I have most experience with is like as a user is Electrum and like Electrum Personal Server, some of the like Staticus guides. He made this like Thundroid, Raspberry Bolt. They were some of like the early hardware Lightning nodes. Node Launcher too, but that's so simple. I don't know if you need help with it. So those are some of the things I will do. And in general, I tend to help a lot of people, just like a lot of Bitcoiners start becoming interested in how software works because they kind of reach a point where it's like, okay, in order to understand proof of work, I really need to know how to like run a hash function. It's like to really dig in and understand it. It kind of helps to be able to play with the data a little bit, and you need to learn some basic coding skills. Or if you learn some basic coding skills, it's just easier, and you can deepen your knowledge. But so that's kind of one thing I do a lot on Twitter, is like encouraging people to learn some basic coding skills, and that's what I help people with in my boot camp. And so I'll be kind of doing that as well. If you want to be like, hey, how do I want to make a block explorer. How do I get started there? I could kind of point you in the direction and, show you some examples and share kind of what you need to learn in order to get started on that, or something, something along this line.
Okay, very nice. And of course, Electrum is one of the most beautiful tools that we have here in Bitcoin, and very important to have a basic grasp of how it works, because it can do quite some profound things. So Nico, I think you're back. So would you like to share your thoughts? Yes, you are. Perfect.
Crystal clear too.
Awesome.
So what do you want to teach? What are the topics that you want to focus on?
Right. So I wanted to say I really like Justin's approach of hands-on learning, giving some assignments that then the students or you guys can, or we can do it together. We can make kind of like gamified, like a game really. Like you have a goal, and then any way you can get there, you got to do a little bit of your research. Like I didn't enjoy university much. I didn't go to almost any of the classes. I just simply took the assignments and I completed them on my own time. That was much better for me, and I would take the very similar approach in here as well. Like for example, I'm pretty adept with Trezor. That's my first hardware wallet, and I still use it, and I think that would be like a really great first hardware wallet for anybody who is thinking about stepping their next game to the next level and protecting their funds. And I've often said that once you have around, let's say, 2 weeks of money that you can put into Bitcoin, then you probably want to look into something like Trezor. And that's definitely something that I'll be using the most. And with the recent updates and what's coming up, it seems really promising, the support for it in the future as well. So I think I'm going to be focusing on that from the wallet side. And with the Trezor, you can accomplish protection for something that is called the $5 wrench attack, which is something that I would like to talk a lot about, because it's something maybe people disregard, especially newbies. Like you might have the best encryption and best passwords and untraceable laptop, and you can use Tor and whatever. But then what are you going to do if a attacker goes to a hardware store and buys a $5 wrench and then beats you until you unlock your gear and give them all your money? So you got to have some kind of plausible deniability so you can provide sufficient proof that you already complied with the attackers' demands. So you can have, like, for example, 100 different wallets with Treasure. I can show you how to do that. Of course, you can just Google this stuff, but I've been playing around with it a lot, and this also applies, by the way, on border control, because Treasure is one of the better known hardware wallets. So actually, some countries, the customs already recognize what is it. So if you travel with a Treasure, they might actually force you and demand you to open it. So this is how you can comply, and you can show them that you have less than what is the threshold value, like 10 grand dollar worth, so you don't get taxed on that, or they don't confiscate it or something like that. A lot of little things, and of course more mundane things like simply signing a secure message. I think there's Wasabi support in the pipeline. I think Max can probably tell more about that. I haven't really looked into that, but that's definitely something I'm going to be looking into as well, and hopefully teach you guys. And yeah, that's from the wallet side. But I also, like, a little bit of my background, because I'm not actually I'm a construction engineer. I did a 10-year career on that. So I was running, organizing this and managing these multi-million renovation sites in Helsinki for like good 6 years, and then on top of that, I did other construction stuff as well. And this was after I graduated, and while I graduated, I was actually mining Bitcoin in 2010 as a curiosity, and then I gave it up to become a construction engineer. And while I was doing the construction engineering stuff, I actually realized something about leadership, that you get much better results when you treat people as your peers, even if you are so-called their superior or their supervisor, and you actually you want to get something out of them. There's many ways to go about it. And then recently, like a couple of years back, I read this book, Starfish and Spider, and I highly recommend you read it. And I didn't realize this was kind of like the approach I had been taken on the site, because I always found it weird, like, why don't others do that? Like, I was always on the site with the plans, and I was always there with the workers, and really putting myself into it, and leading from the front rather than leading from the office, and trying to wear a suit to the side, and then micromanage that way. That always got poor results with the workers, and I was well liked there, and I didn't realize what was the true reason. And now I do think that the Starfish organizational model is a very good way to go about it in many occasions. So if you want to check on Consensus Network on my channel, you can see a lecture I did on this, and there's plenty of other lectures too. People can explain it better than I can. But the point is that this is kind of like I wouldn't say it's the best way to do everything. There's a Spider organizational model which can accomplish some things faster and more efficient if it's really finely tuned for one thing. But what it does not do is not resilient. It's not a long-term model necessarily. So what the Starfish does is that when you cut it in half, it will become two Starfish. So it's anti-fragile. It's not only resilient, but it thrives under attack. And when you put yourself in the line and lead from the front, you are kind of making yourself very hard to attack, or at least very hard to take down, because you are there putting skin in the game, and people follow you because they choose to follow you, right? And that is a much stronger way to lead people. And this, I run into the same thing actually in the university, where I was frequently picked as the manager of the projects, because the party was always at my place, and we always got good results, and we always had good fun. So what do people actually want to do? They want to, they want to feel like they are included, they are having fun, they are contributing, and they are proud to do that. They don't want to be, I don't know any single person who wants to be ordered around, and this goes back to also to some extent to Austrian economics, like this voluntarism, like every transaction should be voluntary or none at all. So once people choose to do whatever they want to do, then it's much stronger bond that you can create with these people. So what I want to teach people more is the Starfish organization models, especially because the biggest age class right now is millennials. And millennials are also notorious for their high time preference, which is a big problem in the world, and I'm sure Bitcoiners are aware of this. And I think Bitcoin and Starfish organizations are a great remedy for the high time preference by lowering it. And it's also something that incidentally millennials are already interested in, because, well, millennials don't like to be led from a hierarchical position, in my experience at least, but they do have a high time preference. So this could be something that would be interesting for different kinds of organizations to look at. And I'm happy to talk about this more. And yeah, I've been rambling along a lot now. I'm also planning about to teach about game theory, but maybe I'll let Rafik go next.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of like covered many of the stuff that I do like to talk about and teach about too. I mean, I would like to be the one of those guys that you can contact if you are like new to this whole scene and all of this stuff, or different devices. I have been playing around during these 6 years with many different types of wallets and exchanges, and even messing around with different shit coins and all of that stuff. And yeah, I mean, and I do not have any kind of like motivation to go and force you into a certain direction. I mean, like, I do want to give just general knowledge. All of the things, well, at least most of the things, they do have good and bad sides. And, you know, like exchanges, you could go on and use a DEX if you want, but, you know, the volume and all of that might not suit your needs. So in a certain situation, you just have to go on and do a KYC, AML type of stuff. So just basic instruction on how to like get people confident with the scene and get to know that stuff.
Very nice. And as I said, right, it's cool to have so many different people here on this platform offering their conversation here, because it provides the opportunity of giving to different areas and always getting tailor-made advice here. So that is very, very nice to see. And maybe a little bit on what I will focus on is it's pretty much all the stuff that I talk about the World Crypto or on the World Crypto Network. So that's first and foremost for me Austrian economics, right? That the applied science of purposeful human action, praxeology, basically how to allocate resources, right? What to do in life, so to say. And right, that's what I've been studying personally for a long time, many years. And it's my hobby, as nerdy as that might be, but it's a joy to go in depth into what this actually means, and especially then apply this to Bitcoin and, for example, the Lightning Network. Because if you have a good, high quality understanding of the economics behind such a monetary asset, you really see the value proposition for it, and that makes you unlimitlessly bullish, which is quite nice to be. But then, in addition to like my more traditional background, I really have learned over the last couple of years a lot about software and the beautiful tools that we can use in cyberspace in the second realm. Of course, they are mostly Bitcoin focused, but not all of them. But for example, here, the Wasabi wallet to return to you the privacy that you deserve, or the ColdCard to be really this really hyper secure cold storage device that you know to be, well, at least very well thought through in all the attack vectors, to give you a well-rested sleep at night, right? But also the Bisq network, as Raphael said earlier, it's quite difficult to get non-KYC'd Bitcoin because you're always forced to reveal your identity. Well, not so much on Bisq, right? Self-hosted Cypherpunk is Fuck exchange. So that is these are really important tools to use in Bitcoin. And then of course, right, the advanced smart contract like the Lightning Network, quite difficult to get your head around that. And I've been struggling this for a lot or for a long time now. And running one of the first Lightning nodes has really taught me a lot. Back then, you really had to command line this stuff, and it was really not intuitive, but it still worked. And to see the potential and how it has grown over the last 2 years is beautiful to see. And then also something like GPG, which I would have never thought if you told me a couple years ago that I would get into GPG and secure encryption of your communication. But wow, this is such a beautiful software and is so underutilized. And everyone should have their GPG fingerprint somewhere here in their videos, right? Because it's just so important to have secure communication. Because without communicating, we cannot be human, right? I guess these are some of the topics that I could talk about. But honestly, just I like to blabber about all the stuff in Bitcoin and Liberty. So I guess the conversation here that you can schedule up is going to be, well, as wide-ranging as the topics as Bitcoin can be. And of course, it's all these topics here I have already done many hours worth of videos. And it's like these videos are kind of a prerequisite knowledge in order to have good and decent a conversation, right? Because if you have a baseline, if you have a fundament to then build a more strong conversation is really powerful. So if you really have some questions and you just want to get like for free at your own time this knowledge, all of this is Libra information under the open source licenses. And that goes for all of our videos here for all the content creators. And the videos are for the background, but then if you have detailed questions about all this, then you can come to the HODL hotline and sign up for a conversation. So yeah, Justin, anything else that you wanted to bring up?
No, not really. I mean, it's I maybe just want to stress it's just kind of an experimental thing we're trying. Just want to share our knowledge with people, and it might work, it might not. Don't trust us. Don't show us your private keys. Like, that sort of thing. Be skeptical of us. We should maybe not call ourselves experts, as was mentioned earlier. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a fun experiment. And like, I don't know, the last experiment that Max and I ended up kind of doing was this like Bitcoin reading group, which has turned out really well. I mean, I just threw up a website. Now we got like 400 people in a Slack group talking about Austrian economics all the time. I think probably they're going to be doing a call. A few of them are going to be doing a call today. It's fun to just throw these little experiments out there and see what comes of them.
Yes, exactly. So Bitcoin reading group right after this recording. Nico, any last words from you that you wanted to share, and why do you think the HODL hotline is a nice idea?
Well, I agree. It's good to have these experiments, and talking about the experiments, we have another one with Max, which is the Honeybadger event for the later of this year. So that's definitely something that we're going to try out as well. If it's going to work out or not, it's more like this, come as you are and build whatever you want on Bitcoin and show it off to other people and have some fun. So I think the HODL hotline is something in the same lines, but it's more like personalized information, like was said. And this is kind of like what I personally do a lot. I pester people like who are more knowledgeable than me about a certain topic, like Max or some other people who know more about coding. And it's, while you have friends, it's not nice to always like constantly keep sending messages. So I would prefer if there would be a way to do this, if there was such a service for myself, that I would throw a few sats and sit down with somebody who is more knowledgeable than I am on some topic. And I feel like it might be something that I would be willing to do. So that means that some other people might be willing to do that as well. So yeah, that might actually work. And this actually ties into the game theory part, which I didn't mention earlier. And for that, we actually coined a new term in Finnish, which is called älyraha, which is direct translation is intelligent money, a money that is actually an artificial intelligence in itself. And what it does, in my opinion, is it creates a game around itself. So it's not really so much as we are it's serving us. What can Bitcoin do to us? It's more like what we can do for it. So it makes us serve it. So it creates this game that makes us the players take care of it. And I think that this intelligent money, this money intelligence, is going to outlive the humankind, possibly. So that's a really interesting game theoretical point. And I think this is the best implementation of or manifestation rather of mass equilibrium, where actually being greedy and selfish is good when the incentives are well aligned. And I think Bitcoin has it really well. And there are some other protocols that are interesting in game theoretical perspective as well, which I'm happy to talk more about. And we're actually working on our own protocol, which is kind of like the eBay killer. It's called Weconomy. But obviously the game theory there is really tough to get it right. Like, for example, we're developing a quorum system for dispute resolution. I think Bisq has something similar, but I'm not entirely sure how it works. But to make these things truly decentralized and something that is not controlled by humans is really difficult, and something that I'm a constant student of, and I would like to share with my views with everybody else as well. I think that's about everything I want to cover. Of course, go and follow me on Twitter, Omnifin, and also on Telegram. And I answer these questions for free every day anyway. So you can just throw me a message. You don't have to buy unless you want to really have an in-depth conversation and maybe some assignments like we talked before. I think that would be really nice to try out. So hope to hear from you either way.
Very nice. Okay, and Raphael, for you as well. Anything else that you want to cover that you haven't touched on yet before?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I do agree with Nico that this hodl hotline is something that I would actually be probably using. I mean, sounds pretty great that if I have a lot of questions on different topic, there's people that are actually focusing and they have learned a lot about that certain subject, so I can just go and have a conversation with them. I don't have to go through these tens of different articles from the web. And yeah, I mean, definitely go ahead and join the Bitcoin reading group after this. And like I said, I mean, that's why we need this much of people, at least. Probably we need more. No one is an expert in all of the parts of Bitcoin, and there's something for everyone. And it's in my opinion, it's our own responsibility to share all this knowledge in one way or another. I mean, if we use Bitcoin and see all of this stuff that these different devs are doing, all of these great products and apps that they are creating, I mean, that's our way to thank them. They are not getting paid for doing this. We should spread this knowledge and about this great thing that we are a part of.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, great points, everyone. So, Piers, this is it, the hodl hotline, hourly consulting with Bitcoin peers. And if you want to schedule a call with one of these many teachers, reach out. Easy scheduling here with the Calendly, or Calendly. So easy to do with just a couple clicks. And maybe just to sum up the 6 teachers that we have so far. Kato Miner, who unfortunately could not join us because he's furiously coding away on the Nodl version 0.07, which is about to be released in the next couple of minutes. So some
epic.
Yes, with a bunch of cool features. So he will help you to set up your personal Bitcoin assistant to run all the Bitcoin software that you need, including, but definitely not limited to, BTC Pay Server, where he is a damn expert and he really knows his stuff. We also have Juan Galt, who is already doing great work with the Be Your Own Bank workshop, where he talks about securing your coins and troubleshooting that you have with also the Electrum wallet and many other cool things. And he's also quite interested in estate planning and how you can pass on your sats to your children and children's children. So this is also very nice to have him. He's already doing this for quite some time now, also on this platform. Of course, I will be talking about all the stuff that is usually here on the World Crypto Network by me, Austrian economics, and the tools that we can apply to liberate humankind, which is Wasabi Wallet, the ColdCard, Bisq, Lightning Network, GPG, and all the other good stuff that we have in Bitcoin. We also have Nico Lam and Omnifin, who can teach you a little bit something about the Trezor and how to secure your precious Satoshis, and also the game theory behind them, and how you can apply this game theoretical approach in your organization by anarchizing it, by decreasing the fragility, and by making it more resilient and thriving on change. And also Cryptorafa here, giving you all the insights that you need on shitcoins and Bitcoin, and why you should decrease your shitcoin time and increase your Bitcoin time. And also the basics of wallets and exchanges, as well as the game theory and privacy of Bitcoin. And we, of course, also have Justin Moon, who somehow came also up with this idea. Also currently running the second run of the Biddle Bootcamp, which was an outstanding success so far. And he can teach you not just the stuff about Bitcoin programming, but then also all the nuances of Electrum, to make sure that you have versatile tools at your disposal. So peers, these are the Bitcoin HODL hotline peers that you can reach out to if you have any major question here in this beautiful wild rabbit hole that is Bitcoin. So maybe now the very last words, really quick, Justin, what's up?
Yeah, excited to see how it works. I don't have much time over the next couple of weeks, but my time's going to free up after this whole New York blockchain week thing, and look forward to it. Yeah, it's fun.
Oh, so much blockchain. No, these peers need the HODL hotline.
Well, yeah, it's going to be Bitcoin week. I'm going to be teaching a couple days of workshops, and we're going to call it Bitcoin week. So I'm going to announce that on Monday. So it's no blockchain stuff.
Just the time chain.
Yeah.
So thank you, Justin, for getting us together here.
I got to run.
Very awesome.
Take it easy, guys.
Bye-bye. Then also, Nico, any last words from you, my friend?
No, I'm also kind of busy this month. I have 2 conferences, which one I'm the main organizer. It's in Finland, and it's all in Finnish. So if you know Finnish, you should come 29th of, what is this month? Yeah, this month, 29th May. And come and check it out. It is Intelligent Money event. So while it's not technically Bitcoin only event, that is mostly what we're going to be talking about. So definitely check it out if you're a Finnish speaker. I will also be attending the Malta AI and Lock and Chain event as a journalist. So I'll be there asking some very difficult questions from shitcoiners, which should be a lot of good fun. So look forward to that coverage. I'm going to go there with Crypto Granny, who is also a character. She has her own show on the Consensus Network as well. She's an actual grandmother, and she's into crypto, so that's already pretty cool. I'm working on converting her into a full Bitcoin maximalist, but it'll take time.
Oh yeah, Granny hodler, much better than Crypto Granny. Raphael, any last words from you?
Yeah, man. Thanks for everybody who's been watching and joined this conversation. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. Very nice. Okay, peers. Well, now you know it. If you are in trouble, call the HODL hotline to get a couple of good peers helping you out in whatever you need. And hopefully there are a couple interesting thoughts that you want to swing by us. So leave a comment, right? Reach out to us on the Telegrams, on the Twitters, and just ask us questions in advance if you have any. And then if you really would like to get into the nitty-gritty of Bitcoin, well, you know where to call. Peers, thank you very much for joining me today here, and see you on the next show. Bye-bye.